recording? That was gross. Hi, I made myself a little hot toddy just to like loosen up a little bit, and also I have way too much tea in my pantry to not be drinking it on a regular basis, so that's what we're doing tonight. But tonight's video, I say tonight because it's 12:01. Good morning, everybody. Today's video is going to be a bit of a review tutorial thing with these two palettes from Melt Cosmetics, and as you can see, I've had Gemini for quite a while. I got Gemini when they first released it back in, I don't remember what month it was, June? May? I don't know. A while ago. And then the Smoke Sessions palette I got in the last couple of weeks, and I've used it quite a few times, and I wanted to give it like a good amount of uses to like see how it works before I actually went in on like a full video on it. But I can tell you that I really enjoy both of these palettes. I definitely enjoy them both more together than singularly. Like this one, it's a fine singular palette. The Smoke Sessions palette is definitely much more like an accent palette. It's not something that you would use standalone unless you just love all shimmer pigment. So, you haven't seen it yet. Here's Gemini.
Hey.
And then here's Smoke Sessions. I'm so clever. But we're gonna do a look using both of these palettes, and then I'm gonna dig deep into why I enjoy them and why I appreciate them and Melt. Let's start with eyeshadow primer. Oh my god, you're right there. What? You're never right there. Some criticisms that I have seen on these palettes are 100% valid. The Smoke Sessions palette is very, very soft, and a lot of people got theirs broken in the mail. And I did not get mine broken. I was one of the lucky ones, but it was very, very soft and almost overfilled. I can see that if the postal worker that was delivering your package was not like gingerly with it, it could come shattered, which is a problem. One other, I guess, criticism that I have seen with these palettes is, as of late at least, like blendability. And with the Gemini palette, these orangey brown shades blend flawlessly. Like, we all know that warm tone browns blend really well. I don't know what it is with the pigments, but they blend really nicely. Greens, on the other hand, tend to have a harder time blending in general. I feel like any palette that I've ever had that had a green shade in it that wasn't like a Kelly green, that wasn't like a bright green, any of those shades tend to be a little bit harder to blend. I don't know what it is with the pigment, but I haven't found a perfect palette where like they blend perfectly. So I'm taking Luna and putting it kind of in the crease as a transition shade and lightly dusting it all over the eye, because this is a palette that works best not on like a sticky base, but if I put like a nude shadow over the top, it works fine. I think that these colors too are probably like a similar kind of formula to like the Subculture palette from Anastasia, in that you don't need to like swirl your brushes because they are very pigmented. But I haven't had like a huge issue with Kick Up, if that like helps at all. But again, you don't need to like swirl your brushes. Now I'm taking another blendy brush, taking Mochi, which is the greeny olive, and bringing that up into the crease to start to deepen the colors. But like I said about the blending, the greens, like my Viseart greens, hard time blending. These greens, I can get them to blend, but it takes a bit longer. It takes more finessing. I'm trying to think of a palette where like it had a green in it that it was like perfectly blended. It might just be like a green thing altogether, but these work pretty nicely. I think I want to go in with Leo because it is so damn pretty. And when this palette came out, I was so excited, because if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you know that I was like harping on brands to come out with like olive tone palettes. I was like, oh my god, it's Gemini and it's green? What? It's my palette. But you guys have seen me use this palette a bajillion times on my channel, I think, at this point. I do feel like that these shades blend better with natural hair brushes than with synthetic brushes. Just saying. You know. All right, so as you can see, that is Luna, Mochi, and Leo. Goals is just a gorgeous green shade. I mean, you guys have seen me put it on my eyes a gajillion times, and it's a gorgeous olive green shimmer, and it's one of those shades that are definitely best applied with a finger. Don't even try it with a brush. Now I'm gonna move on to the Smoke Sessions palette, and I think I'm gonna use the same brush. What do I want to do? I don't know. I'm gonna go with Space Queen, the bluer of the green shades. And this is very, very dark. If you can see it on my brush, it's very dark, but I definitely tap off a decent amount. I feel like they released it not thinking it was going to be like a palette that would just be good as a standalone palette. I feel like that they released it as like a palette that you could accent other ones with, and kind of like how the Kat Von D Pastel Goth palette was. It was something that would pair really well with other palettes. It wasn't necessarily something that was like, oh, you need to get an entire look out of this whole thing. Space Queen is blending quite nicely tonight. So there's Space Queen, kind of blended into Leo. That is this kind of deep bluish green color. And I really, really like it. I think it's not so dark to where it looks black, but it's dark enough to where, like, if you wanted to use it as an eyeliner, you totally could. Let me see if I can zoom you guys in a little bit. So it's definitely like, I didn't spend a ton of time blending the outer edges, but it blends pretty decently. It's not the worst palette in the world. I'm gonna add some shimmers on top of it, so it's not like any sort of lazy blending on the inner half or is gonna be covered up anyway, but this is what it looks like up close. It's not the most flawless blending, but it's not like horrible, you know what I mean? Now, I think what I wanna do, I think I'm gonna do Black Widow, this gorgeous, deep, kind of olive shade. Take a shot every time Abby says olive in this video. Please don't. And I'm gonna put this kind of all around my lid space. God, such a beautiful color. And then one other nice thing about using your finger, you get way less fallout. Way less fallout on your face. Because it's just like you're putting it on your skin and then you're putting it on your other skin. I'm gonna put this one on this eye. I think what I want to do is do gold right on like the inner, and this is the shade Gravity OG. It's gold, but it's a greeny gold. Take a little bit of Granddaddy and just pop it in the middle of the two. These are very similar shades on the eyes, but they're real pretty nonetheless, so, you know. God, these colors all just go so well together. It's so festive. So I'm gonna do my face real quick. I haven't seen a lot of people review this product. Like, I haven't seen a lot of people review the Smoke Sessions palette. I don't know why, because it's so pretty and it got so hyped, at least on Instagram. I'm done, y'all. And then I'm gonna put on my concealer while my brows on. I might film another video after this, who knows. Now I'm gonna put my brows on. Aha, there you are. Yeah, the only person I've seen review the Smoke Sessions palette is Christy, which is ironic because she doesn't even smoke, it's just funny. And she loves the Gemini palette, I think even more than I do, because she's talked about it, and when she reviewed it, she was obsessed with it. I feel like we're kindred spirits. I bought the ColourPop brow gel. So far, so good. Blend out my concealer real fast. This is like a realistic get ready with me. Just like Abby just zipping through everything. Most of the time I get ready at my desk in the morning before everybody else is at work. Like, we have a morning meeting every day at 9 in the morning, and I'm supposed to get there at 8. Supposed to being the operative term. I don't always get there at 8. Most of the rest of the people that work there get there at like 8:45. So I have like a good 45 minutes of me time and answering the phones. Might just set my nose. Because Christy hasn't been setting her concealer lately, but my nose will move if I don't set it. So I might not set the under eye. See what happens. Not like I'm going anywhere. 12:22. I'm gonna see how it goes. Now I'm gonna finish the under eye. And I think for the under eye, what I wanna do is do the brighter blue shades. I'm gonna take a little bit of Luna just for some continuity, you know. Give me back this palette. Now I'm gonna take, might ruin everything. I'm gonna take Sweet Tooth. This might ruin everything. Taking Sweet Tooth, which is the shade right here. This might have been a huge mistake, but oh well. And now I'm gonna take a little bit of Blue Dream, which is the lightest shade. Right in the innerest corner. That's a word. And I'm just gonna take my brush and blend it out. Just slightly. This is a whole lot of look. A little bit of Space Queen just to give it a little bit of depth. To meet them up in the middle. I don't even have my contour palette over here. Damn it, Abby. Oh, fuck. I'll be right back. I will say I have all kinds of fun videos coming up soon. I have a collab that I'm doing this month. Very excited about. And then I have a couple of videos that I have planned with some stuff I got from Octoly. Heyo. So one thing just got here in the mail today, and then another thing just got shipped in the mail today. So exciting stuff. It's gonna take a light pink. Honestly, these two palettes would be perfect if I wanted to redo my Harry Potter makeup series, because my Slytherin look was a lot. Let me know if you've been here since OG Abby on YouTube and saw my Harry Potter makeup series. It was very bad. Like, I put a light silver and like a Kelly green on my eye. Not a good look for this bitch. A little bit of highlight. I honestly didn't probably have to do the whole face, but I kind of wanted to, so don't judge me. Now for mascara. Put on like my favorite lip color of all time, which goes with literally everything. This is the Bite Beauty matte lip cream in Glacé. This might be the first lip product I actually run out of. What? All right, so I'm not gonna spray my face because why? So this is the finished look. I used so many shades from both the palettes. It actually goes really well with this lip color. Okay, so obviously what I came up with, I've been able to wear all kinds of different looks with this. I can do like much more of a like crazy bright bluish green look. I can do more of a muted all matte look. There's all kinds of different looks I can do with these two palettes, but I wanted to give kind of just some like thoughts that I have on the launch and on the brand and on these palettes particularly. Like I said, I've only really seen Raw Beauty Kristi review the Smoke Sessions palette, and apparently there's been a lot of influencers that have kind of like taken a stand against reviewing this and taken a stand against like talking about this in a video, and I think that's really hypocritical. I think it's kind of stupid because as somebody who smokes weed on a regular basis, I wouldn't call myself a pothead, but like it's legal now and it helps. I think it was actually kind of cool what Melt did in making this something that was not only like weed themed, but also just like really fun colors. But I think it's really cool that Melt has kind of brought out things that are like really sleek, and as far as like the packaging goes, it's really minimalist. It's very nice to the touch. It's very kind of grown up, but without being boring. And I think that that's something that Melt and a lot of kind of more up and coming brands are doing these days. They're making products by adults and for adults, because I feel like so much of what is like being marketed nowadays in Ulta and in Sephora and even in Riley Rose, there's a lot of products that are specifically marketed towards teenagers, things that are really cutesy and things that smell like stuff and things that are just a bit kitschy and a bit gimmicky, making generalizations. Not saying somebody who's 30 can't wear like bright, fun eyeshadows that smell like chocolate. Not saying that at all. But I like seeing a brand come out with things that are not pandering to a young crowd. I think the more we do to destigmatize marijuana, the better. Like, I think it's a huge double standard, at least in this community, with beauty gurus not wanting to talk about this and not wanting to talk about like cannabis themed products or like cannabis oil in things. There's so many products that are put out there that are like very marketed towards teenagers that have like very sexual innuendos and have very sexual themes, like a glow job face mask that was marketed towards teenagers and young people, and beauty gurus will just like talk about them all the time. And yet when there's a product that has like a drug related theme, they're like, no, never.
I would never.
Oh my God, think of the children. And I just think that's a really dumb double standard. And why don't we talk about it more? Like, why don't we talk about it more? It's legal in a lot of states. It's not that big a deal. Like, it's weed. It's not like it's a fucking cocaine themed eyeshadow palette. And if it was a cocaine themed eyeshadow palette, all of the shades would be a powdery white. I think so many of the other brands that are like kind of like grown up, like stuff like NARS and like Estee Lauder and like Clinique, Marc Jacobs, either they're really, really overpriced or they're fucking boring. And it's just like, I like that a brand is marketing cool and new, fun, innovative products with like new color selections, but also like being branded and marketed towards like, I don't know, not 12-year-olds. I don't know. Like it's on the higher price range. I will give it that. It's definitely not cheap. This was a $58 palette. This was a $48 palette. So they're definitely investments, which is another thing that kind of leads it in the realm of like not being marketed towards 14-year-olds because 14-year-olds don't have $58 for an eyeshadow palette. At least I never did. I don't know about you guys, but I never did when I was 14. I don't know. I think that these are good palettes. I think that, do you need them? No, you don't need anything. But if you've been looking for something that is green, that is versatile, and is something that you could take with you and would get you a variety of looks, Gemini's a great palette. Smoke Sessions is definitely more niche. Unless you like greens, don't fucking buy this. They definitely need to kind of up their packaging game or up the game in like kind of making sure that things don't get broken as easily. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on these palettes. Let me know if you enjoyed this kind of layout of a video. if you enjoyed this, like, I don't know, setup. I don't usually do just like straight up reviews of things because sometimes I don't feel like my opinion is that useful. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this and I wanted to fucking talk about it because I think it's great. So if you've gotten it, here's a little bit of resource for you. If you haven't gotten it, I apologize. I did see that Sydney Grace released a line of like comparable shades, which I will link to below. If you really, really wanted some of these shades, Sydney Grace is an indie brand that has shades that are similar to these that you can try out. Pretty good. They have very good customer service as well. Highly recommend them. Yeah. This was a little deep dive into the Melt Gemini and Smoke Sessions palette. I hope you enjoyed it. Today's song of the day is Little One by Highly Suspect because I got my Spotify yearly wrapped up thing and it gave me like the songs that I listened to the most, and that was on my top 5 listen to. I listened to Highly Suspect a lot on Spotify this year. Hot damn. So yeah, listen to that song. They're pretty great. I don't know what my next video is going to be, but I will see you guys in that one. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks to my Patreons. You're great. I appreciate you. See you guys in my next video. Bye!